It's a no makeup day, but I'm gonna make a video anyway, like I'm Alicia Keys or something. So one time I took my husband to a Bikram yoga class. One time. I don't even think we were married. I think we were just dating. So surprisingly, we ended up getting married because he did not enjoy himself. In case you're not familiar, Bikram yoga is hot yoga. It's really hot. It's like 110 degrees, 112, I don't know, and a certain percent humidity. And so it's hot. And you do 26 poses. You do each pose twice. And it's pretty challenging. They're pretty challenging poses. So they tell you, the teacher will say, okay, if you don't feel like you can do the pose, stand there. If you can't stand there, sit down. If you can't sit down, lie down, but don't leave the room because you'll benefit from just being in the room, you know, sweating and detoxifying and whatever the philosophy is. Halfway through, my husband gets up to leave and he stopped at the door and encouraged to go and sit down again. And then again, later he got up and tried to leave and was encouraged back onto his mat. And so afterwards, oh, he hated me for taking him, but also, you know, we were talking about it and he said, well, there were, you know, 25 people in the room and there was X amount of cubic square feet of oxygen and I couldn't breathe because there wasn't enough oxygen for everyone in the room. And I said, honey, nobody can breathe. Everybody feels like they can't breathe. But his problem was that he could do the math and he was using his mind the wrong way. I'm not saying this to pick on my husband. He is a brilliant engineer. He's like a math genius. And so he uses his mind that way. And we do this a lot. We use our mind for its intellectual capacity and for all the knowledge that we've gained and stored. And that is one use of the mind. But that would be like using our hand only to slap and not using it for all the other things that it can do. In that situation, in the yoga poses, when it's challenging, the idea is that you are to use your mind to focus, to bring your attention to the present moment, and to remain calm. But a lot of us don't even know how to use the mind in that way. We don't use the mind for focus and discernment. If you want to start to use the mind for more things than just its intellectual ability, begin to notice what you're thinking and how it's making you feel. Because we can use the mind to affect our experience. The mind is always affecting our experience, but we can consciously use it to have a better experience, or else we're using it to allow whatever. We're actually allowing the mind to use us. My teacher, Henry Grayson, would say, if you're not at peace, you just had a thought that disturbed your peace. So try to notice what that is. What was I just thinking that disturbed my peace? And then decide if you want to keep thinking that, or if you want to think something else. So use the mind to discern which thoughts take up real estate. Don't just let all of them hang out there. One of the problems is that we have created paths, literally neural pathways in the brain down certain tracks, right? We have these grooves. The good news is that we can make new grooves. So if it's a negative message that we've been hearing since childhood and then we've taken upon ourselves to keep repeating, we can notice that that doesn't make me feel good. And we can start thinking a new thought and creating a new path. And at first it's hard. It's like making a new path in the woods, right? You're going to have to work to make that path at first. And then the other one will cover over and the new one will be easy to go down. So if you want to use the mind to affect your experience, notice where your attention is. So my husband's attention in the Bikram class was on how little air there was in the room and how hard it felt to breathe. But if you bring your attention to the present moment and to your breath, the fact that you are breathing, you're alive, everything's okay in this moment. And then you can also notice, what was it that disturbed my peace? Do I want that thought anymore, or do I want a new one? We get to choose. We get to use the mind as a tool to affect our experience.